A collection of tenets from the Canon law by Thomas Cranmer. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. He that knowledgeth not himself to be under the Bishop of Rome, and that the Bishop of Rome is ordained by God to have primacy over all the world, is an heretic, and cannot be saved, nor is not of the flock of Christ. Princes' laws, if they be against the canons and decrees of the Bishop of Rome, be of no force nor strength. All the decrees of the Bishop of Rome ought to be kept perpetually of every man without repugnance, as God's word spoken by the mouth of Peter. And whosoever doth not receive them, neither availeth them the Catholic faith, nor the 4 evangelists, but they blaspheme the Holy Ghost, and shall have no forgiveness. All kings, bishops, and nobles that allow or suffer the Bishop of Rome's decrees in anything to be violate, be accursed, and forever culpable before God, as transgressors of the Catholic faith. The See of Rome hath neither spot nor wrinkle in it, nor cannot err. The Bishop of Rome is not bound to any decrees, but he may compel as well the clergy as laymen to receive his decrees and canon laws. The Bishop of Rome hath authority to judge all men, and specially to discern the articles of the faith, and that without any counsel, and may assoil them that the council hath damned. But no man hath authority to judge him, nor to meddle with anything that he hath judged, neither emperor, king, people, nor the clergy. And it is not lawful for any man to dispute of his power. The Bishop of Rome may excommunicate emperors and princes, depose them from their states, and assoil their subjects from their oath of obedience to them, and so constrain them to rebellion. The emperor is the Bishop of Rome's subject, and the Bishop of Rome may revoke the emperor's sentence in temporal causes. It belongeth to the Bishop of Rome to allow or disallow the emperor after he is elected, and he may translate the empire from one region to another. The Bishop of Rome may appoint coadjutors unto princes. There can be no council of bishops without the authority of the See of Rome, and the emperor ought not to be present at the council, except when matters of faith be entreating, which belongs universally to every man. Nothing may be done against him that appealeth unto Rome. The Bishop of Rome may be judged of none but of God only, for although he neither regard his own salvation, nor no man's else, but draw down with himself innumerable people by heaps unto hell, yet may no mortal man in this world presume to reprehend him. For so much as he is called God, he may be judged of no man, for God may be judged of no man. The Bishop of Rome may open and shut heaven unto men. The See of Rome receiveth holy men, or else maketh them holy. He that maketh a lie to the Bishop of Rome committeth sacrilege. To be senator, captain, patrician, governor, or officer of Rome, none shall be elected or appointed without the express license and special consent of the See of Rome. It appertaineth to the Bishop of Rome to judge which oaths ought to be kept, and which not. And he may absolve subjects from their oath of fidelity, and absolve from other oaths that ought to be kept. The Bishop of Rome is judge in temporal things, and hath 2 swords, spiritual and temporal. The Bishop of Rome may give authority to arrest men and imprison them in manacles and fetters. The Bishop of Rome may compel princes to receive his legates. It belongeth also to him to appoint and command peace and truce to be observed and kept or not. The collation of all spiritual promotions appertain to the Bishop of Rome. The Bishop of Rome may unite bishoprics together and put one under another at his pleasure. In the chapter Felicius lib 6 de Punis is the most partial and unreasonable decree made by Bonifacius the 8th that ever was read or heard against them that be adversaries to any cardinal of Rome, or to any clerk or religious man of the Bishop of Rome's family. Laymen may not be judges to any of the clergy, nor compel them to pay their undoubted debts, but the bishops only must be their judges. Rectors of churches may convent such as do them wrong, whither they will, before a spiritual judge or a temporal. A layman, being spoiled, may convent his adversaries before a spiritual judge, whether the lord of the field consent thereto or not. A layman may commit his cause to a spiritual judge, but one of the clergy may not commit his cause to a temporal judge without the consent of the bishop. Laymen may have no benefices to farm. All they that make or write any statutes contrary to the liberties of the church, and all princes, rulers, and counsellors, where such statutes be made, or such customs observed, and all the judges or other that put the same in execution, and where such statutes and customs have been made and observed of old time, all they that put them not out of their books be excommunicate, and that so grievously that they cannot be assoiled but only by the Bishop of Rome. The clergy, to the relief of any common necessity, can nothing confer without the consent of the Bishop of Rome, nor it is not lawful for any layman to lay any imposition of taxes, subsidies, or any charges upon the clergy. Laymen may not meddle with elections of the clergy, nor with any other thing that belongeth unto them. The clergy ought to give no oath of fidelity to their temporal governors, except they have temporalities of them. The goods of the church may in no wise be alienated, but whosoever receiveth or buyeth of them is bound to restitution, and if the church have any ground which is little or worth nothing, yet it shall not be given to the prince, and if the prince would needs buy it, the sale shall be void and of no strength. It is not lawful for the Bishop of Rome to alienate or mortgage any lands of the church for any manner of necessity, except it be houses in cities, which be very chargeable to support and maintain. Princes ought to obey the bishops and the decrees of the church, and to submit their heads unto the bishops, and not to be judges over the bishops, for the bishops ought to be forborne, and to be judged of no layman. Kings and princes ought not to set bishops beneath them, but reverently to rise against them, and assign them an honourable seat by them. All manner of causes, whatsoever they be, spiritual or temporal, ought to be determined and judged by the spirituality. No judge ought to refuse the witnesses of one bishop, although he be but alone. Whosoever teacheth or thinketh of the sacraments otherwise than the See of Rome, doth teach and observe, and all they that the same see doth judge heretics be excommunicate. And the Bishop of Rome may compel by an oath all rulers and other people to observe and cause to be observed whatsoever the See of Rome shall ordain concerning heresy, and the fautors thereof, and who will not obey, he may deprive them of their dignities. We obtain remission of sin by observing of certain feasts and certain pilgrimages in the Jubilee, and other prescribed times by virtue of the Bishop of Rome's pardons. Whosoever offendeth the liberties of the Church, or doth violate any interdiction that cometh from Rome, or conspireth against the person or state of the Bishop of Rome or his see, or by any ways offendeth, disobeyeth, or rebelleth against the said bishop or see, or that killeth a priest, or offendeth personally against a bishop or other prelate, or invadeth, spoileth, withholdeth, or wasteth lands belonging to the Church of Rome, or to any other church immediately subjected to the same, or whosoever invadeth any pilgrims that go to Rome, or any suitors to the court of Rome, or that let the devolution of causes unto that court, or that put any new charges or impositions, real or personal, upon any church or ecclesiastical person, and generally all other that offend in the cause contained in the bull which is usually published by the bishops of Rome upon Maundy Thursday, and all these can be assoiled by no priest, bishop, archbishop, nor by none other, but only by the Bishop of Rome, or by his express license. Robbing of the clergy and poor men appertaineth unto the judgment of the bishops. He is no manslayer which slayeth a man which is excommunicate. Here may be added to the most tyrannical and abominable oaths which the Bishop of Rome exacts of the emperors, inclement de jure jurando Romani, dist 63, tibi domino. It is better not to consecrate than to consecrate in a place not hallowed. Confirmation, if it be ministered by any other than a bishop, is of no value, nor is no sacrament of the Church. Also confirmation is more to be had in reverence than baptism, and no man by baptism can be a Christian man without confirmation. A penitent man can have no remission of his sins but by supplication of the priest.